imminent partner violence. To the survivors that have joined us through acts of domestic violence and are here to stand and to use your voice as a witness to victory, we welcome you. To the sheriff, police, and marshal's offices who respond to calls of desperation, we welcome you tonight. To the city officials here tonight that come to join us in this fight against power and control over others, we welcome you. To the service agencies represented here tonight that act as catalysts and support systems to those who are hurting from acts of domestic violence, we welcome you. To the community clubs and organizations who stand in the gap or who ride by our side to make change in our neighborhoods and our churches, we welcome you. To the military that's shown here tonight, who not only support us by keeping us safe along our shores, but right here in our homes, we thank you and welcome. To the Greek organizations who say yes to leading a hand and lending their souls to the fight against domestic violence, we welcome you. To the families and friends that represent those that have lost their lives to domestic violence and no longer have a voice, please allow tonight to be reminded that your loved ones have not been forgotten, and that we are steadfast focused on ending domestic violence in our community, in our homes, and in our lifetimes. Welcome to a new day of survival, and thank you. As we move on, thank you. As we move forward as an organization that brings other organizations together, we're excited tonight to have Councilman Judy Thomas, Council at Large, here to present the proclamation from the city. I will ask that our executive committee from the Domestic Violence Roundtable please quickly come to the front, and any members that are here that are represented from the Domestic Roundtable, Hope Harbor, Delta, Omegas, please stand. Anyone who is a member of the Domestic Violence Roundtable, please stand at this time. Chandra, if you come to the front, Rhonda.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. It's an honor for me to read this proclamation to you tonight. And I hope that while I'm doing this, you will listen to what the statistics say in this proclamation. I think that will make a difference to you as we go through this evening. This is a proclamation issued by our mayor. Whereas the Office of Violence Against Women defines domestic violence as a pattern of abusive behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain or maintain power and control over another intimate partner. And whereas domestic violence is not a private family matter, but a crime that violates an individual's privacy and dignity, security, and humanity due to systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control. And whereas Georgia was ranked 8th highest in the nation for its rate of men killing women in 2014. And whereas in 37% of the cases studied through Georgia's Domestic Violence Fatality Register project, children witness the domestic violence, homicide, and suffered significant higher rates of depression, anxiety, conduct disorders, and often carry the cycle of violence forward in their lives, either as abusers or victims themselves. And whereas dating violence is a widespread issue that can take place in person or electronically, such as repeated texting or posting sexual explicit pictures of a partner online. And whereas unhealthy relationships can start early, and among 21% of dating high school females and 10% of high school males experience physical and/or sexual dating violence in 2013. And whereas nearly 1/3 of women here in Georgia experience the terrorizing effects of domestic violence in their lifetimes, and more than 3 women are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends in this country every day. And whereas firearms were the cause of death in roughly 71% of all domestic violence cases in 2016, and nearly 41% of adults in Georgia have a household firearm higher than the national rate of 30%. And whereas it is survivors of domestic violence themselves who have been in the forefront of the efforts to bring peace and equity to the home. And whereas Domestic Violence Roundtable, Inc., and a coalition of organizations such as Hope Harbor, Georgia Legal Services programs, the Office of the District Attorney, the Office of the Solicitor General, law enforcement officers, health care providers, the clergy, and other concerned citizens are helping in the effort to end this heinous crime. And whereas we applaud the compassion and dedication of these volunteers and professionals and praise their efforts to increase public understanding of this important problem. Whereas the Domestic Violence Roundtable, Inc. urges all citizens to remember the victims of domestic violence, celebrate the survivors, and work together to eliminate family violence from our community. Now therefore, Teresa Pike Tomlinson, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, does hereby proclaim the month of October 2017 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Thank you so much for what you do for our community, and thank you for what you do also.